G'day gentlemen, here we go. Module 10, relationships with your kids. The first one's going to be about communication and how on the back of what we just covered in Module 9 about understanding the love languages and how important that is for you to be able to have effective communication with your children, okay? And it's very important, okay? So that's what we're going on with that now. So you've established love languages and now we're going to increase your communication with them, and that will affect your relationship with your child, okay? And how you communicate, it also depends on what stage they're up to in their development, okay, as a child. So, there's 3 stages in child development. There's imprint, there's modeling, and there's socialization. So imprint, modeling, imprint, modeling, and socialization. Now, the imprint stage is 0 to 6 or 7, somewhere around there, and that's when everything, they're learning so much, okay? So learning to walk or crawl or eat, communicate, listening, viewing, reading, writing. It's probably the biggest stage of their development, all right, in those first 6 or 7 years. All right, there's also the modeling stage. Now, this is the stage where they're watching you. All right, they're monkey see, monkey do. They are looking to you. All right, how is dad acting? What does dad do? How does dad react to this? All right, what do you like? What examples are you setting? All right, so that modeling stage between 7 and 14, 6 and, around that age bracket is very important that you're watching what you do, because they'll be watching you the whole time, right? And then that's where they're picking up a lot of things, all right? The whole way, how to act and what to do and what not to do, all right? So what sort of example are you setting there, all right? Be mindful of that age bracket, because then you get to the next stage, which is the socialization stage, to late teens, early 20s or somewhere around there. That is when they're trying to work out what their place, where they fit in the world, all right, and that affects everything as well, So, and through all this intertwined is the whole love languages and disciplines and emotional bank accounts and everything that it all fits in. Right? Those 3 stages are very important. Okay, so know where they're at. All right, so be mindful of the 3 of the stages of your child development. Be mindful of where your child's at, and that affects how you will conduct yourself and do certain things, all right? I'm going to talk about effective communication, little hacks about discipline and ways to enforce things that you're not happy with. Now, I'm not saying, I'm not a parenting expert. I'm never claimed to be. I learn all the time. I'm evolving my parenting. I've even got help through my own shrink or psychologist that I go see, who's a parenting expert, among other things. So that's where I get a lot of my information from, because, like this whole course, like I've always wanted to evolve and I've always wanted to get better at what I do. So things that I learn and pick up is what I'm passing on to you here. Okay, so don't think I'm an expert. Don't think I'm lecturing or, trying to show you or tell you how to be a parent. Okay, it's not what I'm about. I'm just here to help you be better. All right, and if you can take on 20, 30, 50%, 60%, 100% of what I suggest through this whole course, then that's great. All right, so that's all it's about. I'm also going to discuss in this one is things about how girls are different from boys, and how you need to approach certain situations and that differently. Okay, between girls and boys. All right, so that's what we're going to discuss here. Let's get ready to jump into it. Module 10, relationship with your kids. I'll see you in there. Bye. Hey guys, here we are. Okay, communication. Let's go. How you communicate will affect all of your relationships. Okay, that goes not only being a dad, especially a single dad, but out there in society. How you communicate affects your relationships. You must already know that. Okay, that's just a given. Now, what I want to talk about here mainly is how you communicate as a father emotionally. All right, not just saying that, not just with anger and discipline and frustration. Okay, that's not a good way to communicate. You don't want to just say, "Oh, do this because I'm your dad," and I said so. Don't do that. You can't talk like that. You need to give them a reason, okay, for saying that sort of thing. So when something does happen, or when, something, you got to stop and think, okay, before you act, all right? Because in that, there's that space, okay? I might have mentioned this before about when something happens to you and how you react, there's a space, and that defines you about how you react, okay? So make sure if you're reacting to something that happened, you're reacting to the stimulus, okay, not the actual action. To clarify that a bit more, what you want to do is try and understand what incited the action. Okay, what was it that made the child act a certain way to do that thing that you're not happy with? All right, there's got to be a reason why. All right, they don't just act out like that. Okay, so understand the stimulus and not the action. All right, and that will affect how you react. All right, and therefore how you communicate in that kind of scenario. Okay, and you also want to be mindful of in this situation, your tone, your tempo, your rhythm, your pitch, about how loud you are, all those little things you can do within your voice and your reaction can affect how your child will feel. Okay, and also make sure you're asking them questions, all right, when you don't understand a certain thing, and again, be mindful of your tone and tempo. Okay, where have you been this afternoon? Out with your friends? Or where have you been this afternoon? Out with your friends? See, it can change, the same line, but it can be different. So, just don't be demanding of them, and don't be angry straight away, all right? Understand them first. Even if they've done something wrong, try and understand it first. Stop, think, react. Okay? You also want to look for ways to connect with your kids. What are they into? What friends have they got? What relationships have they got? What their love languages is? What are their interests? What are their hobbies? What's their motivation? If you understand them more, then it'll help you communicate. Okay? Definitely. Absolutely. 120%. Understand them, what motivates them, what they're into, what their interests are, then you can communicate with them a lot more. Another thing too here about communicate, affecting relationships, manage your mistakes, okay? We all make mistakes, so manage them. Take ownership, be accountable if you make mistakes, because they're going to happen, all right? And use your wisdom and own it as a father, okay? Own your mistakes. The power of an apology is huge, all right? And I do this now, and I'm so mindful of this now. When I've made a mistake, when I do something wrong, that if I've assumed, like just the other day, I forgot that I was going to pick up one of my boys at a certain time. He was there, and then his mother got upset at him because he wasn't there for her, and the details will leave out a little bit, but at the end of the day, I stuffed up, or I made the mistake. So I actually, I said, mate, I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry it was my fault, and I apologise. And since I've found this little hack, I've been doing it all the time. When I make a mistake, I apologise and I own it, and I say to them, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I'm human. All right, it won't happen again. Okay, and this little thing, doing that will contribute to the emotional bank account. Okay, which intertwines with discipline and relationships and communication, which we're going to talk about a bit later. Okay, so own your mistakes and apologise. All right, it doesn't matter if they're 5 or 3 or 9 or 7, 13. Say you're sorry. All right, and it's showing them that it's a good way to conduct yourself, right? And that's what you've got to do out there in society and dealing with people. All right, you make a mistake, you apologise. Another thing here is with your relationship. Okay, you've probably heard this term: fast is slow and slow is fast. Okay, so you can be with business and operations and some things out there, you can be fast and speedy and streamline efficiencies, okay, or lean management, that kind of thing. But with relationships, slow is fast. Take the time, all right? Understand them. Slow down. Listen to them, okay? When they talk, listen. Empathetic listening, active listening, all right? Don't pretend. Those are the two best listening styles you can do: empathetic and active listening. Active listening, repeating it back. Really understand and really listen. Take the time to listen to them when they talk to you. All right? Solely focus on what they are saying, okay, and understand it. All right? Let it sink in. Give them your time. Give them your attention. Okay, the news or the TV program or anything else can wait. If your boy comes home or your daughter comes home and she's got something exciting to tell you, pause and listen. All right? Again, that'll contribute to the emotional bank account, which will then help you parent them, discipline them, encourage them, influence them, mentor them, be a role model for them. Okay, it all intertwines, and listening is a big part of that. Okay, so give them your undivided attention when they need to tell you something. Okay, and if you don't quite get it, say, "I'm sorry, darling, can you repeat that? Daddy didn't understand it. Tell me again." All right, and be active with it. Okay, another little hack you can do there is, if your kids aren't with you all the time, all right, which is 99% of the time, 90% of the time with who I'm talking to right now, your kids are possibly not with you. Okay, write them a letter, an actual letter, handwritten letter between visits, all right, and send it to their address. So you're present in the mind. This is my own little saying: be present in the minds of those you love the most, all right, and that's your kids, all right. It has to be so, or those that matter the most. So write them a letter. It's a good little thing and they'll get a little letter in the mail. It could be draw them a picture if you have to. Here's you with the kids. Just something so you're in their minds when you're not with them. It helps the communication, which then helps the relationship, all right, which is what this point's about. And I will just add here, before I go on to the next point about discipline, I really want to say to you about the 9 minutes, okay? And I got this from my my psychologist, or my parenting guy that I go and saw in the past. The most important 9 minutes of your child's life. The first 3 minutes when they wake up, the first 3 minutes when they get home from school or kindy, kind of thing, and the last 3 minutes before they go to bed. All right, if you can spend those 3 minutes with them, it'll help your communication and definitely help your relationship. Just a little touch or a little story or a couple of questions. Just make sure you're with them, okay? 3 minutes when they wake up, the 3 minutes when they first get home, and the 3 minutes before they go to bed. All right, the 9-minute rule. Okay, adopt that. All right, it's a little gold mine. Okay, as I say, like I've been using that too. I make sure I religiously do it now. First 3 minutes when I wake up, I will talk to them, touch them, cuddle them, all those little things. When they get home from school, I make a big deal of it. Okay, ask them about the day. What was the highlight of the day? Little positive questions. What did they learn today? When they're going to bed, I love you, good night, sleep well, have you had a good day, how you feeling? Just anything, cuddles, kisses. 3, 3, and 3, okay? All right, so let's move on now about discipline. So be firm but fair with discipline. Have clear roles and goals. All right, so you need to be firm and fair, and I mean, each to their own. I'm not going to pass judgment here. I'm not going to, say about, don't smack your kids and, whatever. That's totally your domain, all right? I'm not pro either way with it. But I will say personally, yes, I did smack my boys when they were younger. Haven't had to do it for a long time now. Okay, a long time now, which is good. But I will give you a little point here going on the back of relationships. So if you enforce rules before relationships, that'll equal rebellion. If you have relationships before rules, you'll have respect. Okay, respect as an adult, respect as a parent. Okay, so relationships before rules, not vice versa. All right. Now, with the discipline, if you need to address an issue, something come up, or you've noticed some behavioural changes in your child, something's gone on, make sure that you address it as an I message. All right. I've noticed this. I feel like you've been neglecting your responsibilities. I feel like you've been neglecting your responsibilities around the house. Right? I feel that you've been selfish. I feel. Okay, don't speak it like you've been doing this and you've been doing that. You're a naughty girl. You've done this wrong. Don't say that. Put it through as an I message. Okay. For me personally, there was one as my oldest has got older. He was getting a bit selfish in his behaviour, and he just seemed to change. And I guess he's going through stages, and with his friends and that, and I just directed it. I said, look, I feel like you're becoming a bit selfish lately with your friends and what's going on there. And as we sort of spoke about it more and more, it turned out that he was just unhappy because the little posse that he was hanging with were always doing what one of the other kids wanted, all right, instead of what he wanted or what the group consensus wanted. It was always this other dominating kind of child had influenced the group, and it affected his behaviour, all right. But I did deliver it when I spoke to him as an I message. I feel this is going on, mate. So tell me what's going on. And he did. He was quite forthcoming then with information about it, and we conversed on it a while. All right. So deliver it as an I message. Roles and goals now. Make sure you're clear and concise with what you expect of your child. Okay, you don't want to be ambiguous, so make it clear, okay, and with responsibilities and who's accountable for what and what they've got to do, and then they'll know what's expected of them. All right, you don't just be all wishy-washy, as I mentioned before about being wishy-washy as a dad or a parent. Clearly define what you're asking of them, all right, and that way then they know, and then you each know where the benchmark is, all right, what's acceptable, a KPI, so to speak, with a chore or something they've got to do. And then they know that if they don't live up to their end of the bargain, there's going to be consequences, all right, and there'll be something opposed, and they'll know if they don't do it exactly right, then they will expect consequences, okay, some sort of discipline, and explain it all up front first of all right. So, and this is a big one about getting back before about your communication. Don't just rant and rave, okay. It's not going to make sense if you weren't clear at the start of it, if you weren't exactly specific with what you expected of them in certain things, then don't rant and rave and don't go off the handle, okay. It's not going to help anything. All right, cool. I mean, because you will find with children, they have all different sorts of behaviours, right? Tantrums and threats and manipulations and sneakiness. Okay, there's stuff that goes on there, but it also comes back. Remember I spoke to you before about the stimulus and not actually action. So the stimulus is different things like with children. There's four categories to why children misbehave. Right? There's attention-seeking misbehaviour. There's demand-seeking misbehaviour. There's escape-seeking misbehaviour, and there's fun-seeking misbehaviour. All right. So attention-seeking, we know that they're just nagging or pestering or just consistently interrupting. Okay, so they're attention-seeking. Right. So that's saying that they want your time. They want something of yours. Then demand-seeking is rudeness and being obnoxious and swearing and cursing. And that kind of demand-seeking means that the child feels like they haven't got what they want. All right, you've let them down somewhere, so they feel angry or cheated or disappointed for some reason. All right. Then you have escape-seeking. So that's where they delay something, or they're putting something off, or they're purposely not in a rush to get somewhere. They delay doing something they don't want to do. Not doing the homework or stalling for time, requesting extra play time, that kind of thing. And then another one there is fun-seeking misbehaviour. So this is where they demonstrate misbehaviour as fun. Okay, so for example, you might have a case where you tell your little toddler to not jump on the couch. Okay, then people come over and they're jumping on the couch, and then the people laugh at it or something, so they think it's fun, and but it's not. It's fun-seeking misbehaviour, right? And that's got to have a consequence to it. Okay, so if this is the case, if this is what's going on, first of all, you want to make sure you acknowledge the behaviour. You both acknowledge the behaviour, and then you want to decide on the outcomes. All right, decide on what you want. All right, give it clarity about what's a discipline or a consequence of what's going to happen. And then you want to discuss the issue with the child once you've both calmed down. Okay, this is what I said about being in a, don't rant and rave and don't react to things when you're angry and frustrated. Okay, when you both calm down, then you can discuss it. I mean, seriously, I understand it's hard with toddlers. I've been there before. All right, you got to nip it in the butt straight away. But as they get older and they start to understand and become more aware, then you can do that kind of thing. All right. So with attention-seeking misbehavior, an option there for you to do is redirect that kind of energy and that behavior into something, a distraction technique, and put that energy and time into something else. Or you can try and ignore it, but that'll probably make it worse. So I'll probably go with the first one there. Demand-seeking misbehavior. You can just let them know that you're prepared to discuss what they want at a later stage. And once you've both come down and show them that, yes, we will discuss this later, and make sure so they feel that it's important to you as well to discuss it. What you don't want to do is give in to demand-seeking behavior, because that'll send mixed messages to the child, all right? So they can just demand what they want and they get it. All right, it's not the way it's going to work. All right, it's not the way it should work. All right. Escape-seeking and fun-seeking behavior. Now, what you can do there is, as a parent, you can point out to them and call them out and let them know that you know what they're up to. All right. A tactic known as a tactic blown. You've heard that before. So once you know what the child's playing at, then you can come up with your own plan. All right, and then you can using one of the other sort of techniques there to get around that. So as I mentioned before, there is underlying all this misbehavior. Okay, there is an underlying message or a reason why they're doing what they're doing. Okay, so just work that out, and that'll help you stay calm and in the moment, and work out the best course of action for the discipline. All right. Emotional bank accounts do exist, so make deposits and not withdrawals. Okay. So this is the big one. The emotional bank account it's a bank account in your child's mind. Okay, it's their emotions. It's how they feel. All right. Are they feeling trust? Are they feeling love? Are they feeling cared for? Are they feeling safe? Are they feeling secure? All right. Do they respect you? Do they love you? Do you love them? How do they feel about it, the whole situation? That's their emotional bank account, all right? And you don't want to rob it, all right? You want to make deposits in it and keep it topped up, okay? So they want that support. They want that security. They want to know that my dad's got me, all right? My dad is my rock. I feel safe. I feel secure. All right? I am loved. Emotionally, all right? They are 100% trustworthy of you. They look up to you. So you can make deposits through understanding them, through their love languages, from their frame of reference with everything. And if something's important to them, then it has to be important to you. All right, make sure of that. All right? If something's important to them, it has to be important to you. Now, if something's important to them, it has to be as important to you as they are to you. Okay? So make sure you adopt that sort of mindset and philosophy with this sort of thing. You want to make sure you've got trust and have faith, no broken promises, all right? This is what I think I mentioned before about don't break promises or don't make promises you can't keep. It'll rob the bank account. Just word it so it's like, yes, if circumstances are favourable, yes, we can go and do that. All right, I'll have to do this first, but we can do that. Yes, we can do that. If you're 100% sure, don't break promises. All right, it'll just chip away at the emotional bank account, chip away at the relationship, chip away at the communication. All right, and you don't want that at all. We want to keep adding to those dynamics. Yeah, the relationships, the communication, the bank account. All right, make sure we're always adding to it. Don't rob it. Because if you don't follow through with a promise or something, it's mistrust, it's broken, the hope is gone, and that chips away at the whole safe, secure love and everything. All right. And as I said, another one there about the anticipation of having an event is sometimes better than the actual event. Okay, and another point there too, I'm not sure if I touched on it before, is that the kids are much easier to discipline and keep in line with a full emotional bank account. All right, and I can vouch for this 100%. As I said before, like I haven't had to smack my children or show them discipline for a long time now, because I'm practicing this this emotional bank account thing. All right, I'm doing it, and it's working. Yeah, it is working. So I implore you to do it as well. All right, keep filling up the emotional bank account, and everything else will just fall into place. All right, as far as with the communication side of things. All right, I'm not talking about anything else now in your situation. I'm just talking about this side of it, communication with your kids. Okay, cool. Okay, so girls and boys are different, and so must be the way you approach the relationship. Okay, so I don't really want to get too much into girls and boys, because I'm just treating all children as children. But certain things, girls are different from boys. All right, so I'm just gonna get gender specific here. Just get gender specific here for a sec. Now, so dads have more influence with girls in certain areas. Okay, so in areas of trust, in areas of enjoyment, and their relationships to males. All right. So girls that have good relationships with their dad, they've got better trust, they have more enjoyment, they relate to males more, they've got more self-confidence, they're self-reliant, and statistics show that they're actually less likely to develop eating disorders, all right, if they have a good relationship with their dad. All right, so if you've got daughters, make sure you have a good relationship with them, because on the other hand, girls that don't have a good relationship with their father are more likely to be involved with bad peer groups and unpleasant romantic endeavors, all right, poor decisions. And also, the statistics also show that girls who have a bad relationship with their fathers are more likely to get involved sexually a lot earlier and a lot younger, and possibly more likely to have children as teenagers. They're also 92% more likely to dissolve their own marriage. Okay, and an interesting fact here, I'll tell you, my ex-wife actually had a bad relationship with her father, and we ended up breaking up, dissolving the marriage. So, read into that what you want, okay? But, it's, hey, just saying. Okay, now, another final point here is I'm just going to have a quote here I read about a guy named Peter Schiff, and it says, "Fathers of daughters shape their self-esteem, body image, behavioural traits, and also define future romantic relationships." Okay, so that covers kind of what we said there. So have a good relationship with your daughter. All right, it'll help her know what to expect from any future partners. Help her romantically, help her with her confidence, her self-reliance. All right, and give her good behaviours and know how she should be treated. All right, so bring her up like that. Okay, which is what I'll be doing. So that's just a little bit of a touch on girls are different from boys. So that's pretty much all I want to talk about now with communications in this slide, in this module. So I hope you get something out of that. I really hope you adapt some of what I've spoken about, because it really, man, I'm telling you, it works, okay? What I've spoken about in this one, it works. Communication with your child. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Take it easy. Bye for now.